2025 is only a few months away, and we now know many of the amazing games coming out in the next year or so. Mobile gaming has gotten so good, many of these games are full-on PC games for mobile devices, like Destiny Mobile, for instance. We haven't heard much from that game over the last year or so, but I recently found out this game is still in development, and I would bet there's going to be some sort of playable version of that game in the next year or so. We already have amazing games like Arena Breakouts and Delta Force Mobile pushing the boundaries of mobile gaming. So what's going to come out next year in 2025? Today we'll be talking about 10 different games that you need to have on your radar. Hope you guys enjoy this one. So sit back, relax, leave a like if you enjoy, and subscribe if you're new. And without further ado, let's jump into game number 1. The first game we need to talk about is Codename Crime, or Crime City. It's called something like that. We already have a ton of different games that are trying to be like GTA 5 Mobile, and none of them are that amazing, but I think this game might finally be the tipping point. This is a multiplayer open-world RPG game set in an urban environment where you can shoot, drive, explore, and engage in a plethora of different activities, ranging from PvP modes like cooperative heists with friends, compete in shootouts or races, and create businesses to expand your economic power and build your influence in the city. It obviously takes a ton of inspiration from the Grand Theft Auto series, and while this game won't be equivalent to GTA 5, it will probably be the closest thing we have yet for mobile devices. Considering the fact that Level Infinite is making this game, a development team that's a part of Tencent, I really don't think they're gonna release some terrible game that nobody cares about. I think they've learned their lesson with other bigger open world exploration games like Undawn, for instance, and they're really gonna just try to make this game as big as possible with as much content as possible. Considering every other mobile game like GTA 5 is just not that good, this is a perfect opportunity for Tencent, and this game has a ton of potential. Time will tell, but definitely have this game on your radar. It's probably going to have some sort of release later on in 2025. Next up, we can't forget about Rust Mobile. Just like Destiny Mobile, we haven't heard too much from this game over the last year or so, but at the beginning of 2024, this game was announced that it is in development, and we still have time before the end of this year for an official announcement that might include a release date. This is yet another game by Level Infinite, which I can easily see is going to be the massive dominant company in the mobile gaming space next year, and it can absolutely be one of the most successful open world survival games for mobile devices ever. Rust is a unique game. A lot of people like to compare it with DayZ, but in all honesty, it's pretty different. DayZ is a slower, more complex survival horror game where you're trapped in a post-apocalyptic country completely overrun by zombies. Weapons are scarce, and dying means losing pretty much everything. But Rust, on the other hand, is more of a raw survival game, focused much more on the building aspect, and people are much more focused on base raiding. And in Rust, dying rarely means losing everything because you can always spawn right back at your base where all your gear is. Rust is a faster paced game than DayZ, which is perfect for us mobile gamers. Most people don't play mobile games nearly as long as they play their PC games, so it's just going to appeal more to a wider number of players. I am anticipating some type of announcement later this year or early next year, and we will hopefully, fingers crossed, get some sort of playable version of this game by the end of next year. It's always subject to change, especially considering we haven't heard too much from this game, but I'm gonna be optimistic here. The third game worth mentioning is Assassin's Creed Jade. Bet you haven't heard that game in a while. This game was supposed to already be released, but it has been delayed a lot. However, reporters on duty just recently posted that this game is now scheduled to be released in Q2 2025. So, what is this game? Well, we've already seen a lot of the trailers so far, but it's going to be the first open-world Assassin's Creed game made exclusively for mobile devices. An RPG action-adventure game set in ancient China. This is yet another game made by Tencent, and based off of the closed beta gameplay that we've seen leaked all over the internet, it looks really good. Players explore the path of Xia, the adopted child of Master Wei Yu, on a quest for revenge after their close friend was betrayed. As you delve deeper into the mission, you uncover secrets about the past and a powerful force that threatens to destroy everything that you hold dear. Jade features a fully customizable character, an excellent combat system filled with dodging and all sorts of crazy attacks, unparalleled movement filled with parkour and free running capabilities, and a lush environment filled with stunning visuals. I think this game will be massively popular all around the world, and it'll bring more people into mobile gaming because for the PC and console players that love Assassin's Creed, they're not going to want to miss out on a mobile exclusive game. I'm super excited. I can't wait for it to release next year. The fourth game that's likely going to be playable next year is Palworld Mobile. Palworld was a massively popular game earlier this year that a lot of people like to compare with Pokemon. The game is set in an open world populated with animal-like creatures known as pals, which players can capture and use for various purposes such as base building, traversal, and combat. It's basically Pokemon with a unique twist. Pals can wield weapons and engage in combat with military-style weaponry. It's this crazy combination of cute creatures and intense combat, and it's honestly unlike any other mobile game or PC game out there right now. Palworld Mobile was recently just announced. It has been speculated for a while, but Krafton made the official announcement not too long ago. It's going to be developed by PUBG Studios, and it will stay true to the characteristics that made Palworld so successful in the first place. I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be awesome, and if it's made by the same developers that literally made freaking PUBG, dude, one of the biggest video games ever, it should be very polished and very popular. Now, even though the official release date has not been announced yet, I think a playable alpha or beta version will be available at some point next year. Global release might be a bit later, like potentially sometime in 2026, but I seriously think we're going to have some sort of playable version before the end of next year. With a game like this, there's no way we're going to have to wait many years for it unless there's like massive delays that nobody was expecting. Here's a game that you might have not heard of before, Fate Trigger the Novita. Do you know about this game? If not, you should. I think this will be a super underrated game. Think of this game as an anime battle royale game, but it looks and plays so well. You'll love this game even if you could care less about anime, like me, for instance. The world is torn apart by the Pale Blight disaster, and you are an awakener, a chosen warrior destined to restore balance, where you'll need to navigate floating islands and fight many different anime heroes, all with their own unique skills and special abilities that will completely alter the entire state of the battle. It's a very fast-paced battle royale shooter where you can play solo or in a team, and the game encourages scavenging and crafting, allowing you to develop the most powerful weapons and unleash your unique abilities against opponents. You have tons of customizability in this game, allowing you to create the perfect weapons for your combat style, and movement is top-notch, complete with portals, gliders, and hover cars to traverse between the islands. The visuals are awesome, gameplay looks nice and fluid, and it actually looks incredibly complex and competitive. This is not going to be some casual game like you might have expected. They've already done a lot of testing, and release is likely going to be sometime in 2025, available for PC, console, and of course mobile devices. I am very excited for this one. Another game I am super excited for is Counter War: The Future. This is a sci-fi shooter made by Tencent that completely blows away almost all of the competition. Like, really, only Arena Breakout and Delta Force Mobile look even remotely comparable to this game. I've talked about this game before as NZ Mobile. That's what it was originally called, but now they're calling it Counter War: The Future, and yet still some other people are calling this game Edgewalkers. Who really knows what this game's gonna be called on release, but I like to think of this game as a unique blend of Destiny and Titanfall Mobile. I know a lot of people have been wanting a Titanfall mobile game for a long time now, and this is probably the closest thing they're gonna get. You have aliens, robots, you can fight on the ground and in outer space, and there are so many different game modes planned for this game. There will be an open world exploration mode like on Dawn, a dungeon raid mode with a boss encounter at the end, a mech battle mode reminiscent of Titanfall, classic hunting grounds, which is probably your usual team deathmatch and free-for-all modes, and a tower defense mode, believe it or not. There's been quite a lot of leaked gameplay footage from China at this point in time. It seems like it's going to release there first, and if things go well, it's going to release globally. I'm thinking there's going to be some sort of playable version in 2025, so I guess we'll see what happens. The seventh upcoming game that you will be very excited to hear about is NARA Bladepoint Mobile. This is another game that doesn't have an official release date set yet, but it has already been released in China, and I think global release is not too far away. A lot of people are scared that this game isn't even going to come out globally, but the PC version has been available globally since 2021, and they literally have English pages on both Twitter and Facebook for the mobile version of the game, which those social medias aren't even available in China. So it clearly means they're planning to release this game elsewhere around the world. I think now that it's finally released in China, NetEase Montreal will finally get things in gear, and we might have a playable alpha or beta test at some point in the first half of next year. I doubt global release will take years from now, but I guess you never really know. I like to stay optimistic though. NARA Bladepoint is another unique battle royale game where 60 players fight against one another to be the last person standing. You have a diverse roster of heroes, each with their own unique abilities and ultimate moves, and the game places heavy emphasis on melee combat. You have melee as well as ranged weapons. You can use punishing combos in battles, and NARA Bladepoint incorporates parkour elements with everything from wall running, swooping down on enemies, and zipping across the map with grappling hooks. It looks like it's going to be a big competitor to Fate Trigger the Novita. So I want to ask you guys, after you've seen both of these games, which one would you rather play? Let me know down below in the comments. Next up, we gotta talk about Once Human Mobile. If you check the App Store right now, you can see this game is supposedly coming out on January 9th, 2025. Now, we all know this date is not set in stone, as we've had many games in the past like Warzone Mobile that have been delayed way past that date that's on the App Store, but it's definitely coming out at some point in 2025, and when it's here, it'll be one of the best open world survival games for mobile devices, period. I played it on PC before, and it is incredibly immersive with high-quality graphics rivaling games like Delta Force Mobile. In this game, you're immersed in a universe where an apocalyptic cosmic invasion has transformed the world into a twisted nightmare. The invasion has contaminated all living beings, from animals to plants, with an extraterrestrial substance known as stardust. As a metahuman, you possess a unique bond with this substance, giving you the power to survive and thrive in this new reality. From my own personal experience, the story is just so cool. You need to navigate a desolate wilderness plagued by hunger and thirst. There are enemies everywhere, and you can team up with other players to survive. That's super key. You can build massive fortresses, collect tons of awesome gear, and do pretty much whatever you want in this game. There's so much more to the game than what I'm saying right here, so you should check out my entire video on this game that I made a few months ago. I'll link it down below in the description. It is such a cool game. The second to last game on our list is Ace Force 2. This is another game that I've already played and made several videos on at this point in time, and I fully expect a global release to happen at some point next year. It is so much fun, way better than I would have expected, and it will be a great competitor to Valorant Mobile, which also might be releasing at some point in 2025. I could have talked about Valorant Mobile on this list, but everybody knows about that game at this point in time, and Ace Force 2 might be overlooked in the months to come. This is a 5v5 hero-based first-person tactical shooter made by Tencent's More Fun Studios, and in this game, players engage in incredibly competitive matches where teamwork and strategy is crucial for victory. It features a variety of characters known as aces with unique abilities and playstyles, and so far there's 4 distinct maps with unique strategies and challenges. Movement is excellent, gunplay is very smooth in my opinion, and I absolutely love the unique graphic style that this game has. Not every game has to have the most realistic graphics ever, and this cartoony graphic style is something that'll never get outdated. We already have a decent amount of games like Valorant for mobile devices, like Matrix Fire, the re-release of Hyperfront, and the upcoming Strenova mobile game, which is, to be fair, quite a bit different from Valorant, but still has a lot of the same characteristics. But I honestly think Ace Force 2 will be one of the best options out there. Don't miss this game when it comes out in 2025. And finally, the last game that is hopefully coming out, at least in an alpha version in 2025, is Battlefield Mobile. Not the old Battlefield Mobile, I'm talking about the brand new Battlefield Mobile that you might have never even known about. EA has plans to re-release this game, but it'll be vastly different from the old one, right down to the developers behind it. The studio that worked on the original Battlefield Mobile, Industrial Toys, no longer exists. So DICE is coming in to make a proper mobile version of Battlefield. We know pretty much nothing about this game. All we've seen are job listings, and we know they're at least planning on creating it. but I seriously think it's entirely possible we will get some sort of playable alpha version before the end of next year. If not, then certainly by 2026. The reason being is now that Delta Force is getting very close to release, EA can blatantly see that people love a proper mobile game like Battlefield, and they just don't want to miss out on what they, in theory, can do best. A lot of people are speculating that this upcoming Battlefield mobile game will be a modern-day first-person shooter with a lot of elements from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, and it might even be a cross-play game with the PC and console version of Battlefield that'll come out right around the same time. It makes sense because that's what Delta Force is trying to do, but of course, it's all up in the air, and if there was one game on this list that really has the least chance of actually happening, this might be the one, unfortunately. But I'm gonna be optimistic, you know, and if this game actually does come out, it might actually be one of the greatest mobile games of all time. And with that being said, that basically concludes our video. I'm going to include some gameplay from Nova, which is another overlooked game that's probably going to come out in 2025. I've talked about it a lot in past videos. Very, very cool game that I hope we can play sometime soon. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. There are so many more games that I could have included, and if there was any game that you think I should have included on this list, please let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what everybody has to say. Which game are you most excited for? Again, let me know down below in the comments, and hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe for more mobile gaming content just like this, and I will see you all in the next episode.